So I wanted to pick up the camera in kind of a real moment. Sorry, I can't catch my breath. I wanted to pick up the camera in like a real low moment that I'm experiencing so far with this pregnancy. I am, according to the first day of my last period, I'm about 6 weeks and 4 days today. And I said in my last video, me finding out I was pregnant, that I wanted to kind of document more this time around, because I don't have the best experience of pregnancy. It's very, very tough, and I'm sure it's tough for so many women, and I know that there's women out there who have pregnancies worse than I do, but this is just my experience. So please just allow me this moment to explain how I'm feeling, and how tough it is for me. I know everybody's experience is completely different, and I don't want to take that away from anybody, but this is just how I feel at the moment. I'm very sorry if I sound breathless, but that is also another symptom of pregnancy. Everything's moving around, organs are getting squished about, and I'm very, very breathless these past 2 days. So I'm currently in bed, as you can probably tell. I have felt absolutely horrific for, I'd say, the past week. It started, the like nausea and everything started about a week ago. So I was approaching 6 weeks. I rang the doctor and I asked to be put on ondansetron. Well, I didn't actually ask to be put on ondansetron. I rang them to talk about the nausea, because I knew it was coming. As I said before, I suffered with hyperemesis in my last pregnancy, and I wanted to be prepared because I knew it was going to happen again. I rang the doctors. She prescribed me ondansetron in case I wanted to start taking it, but she also advised me that there is been new research, and there is, as there is with loads of other medications, there is a small increased risk of the baby developing a cleft palate or cleft lip if they are exposed to ondansetron in early pregnancy, so like before 12 weeks. So as you can imagine, that was quite alarming to hear, because I was on it for the best part of 8 weeks in my first pregnancy with my son. Yeah, I took it for about 8 weeks, maybe even longer than that, with him. And he's fine, he doesn't have any like oral issues or anything like that. But this research has obviously been done regarding this medication, and it's quite scary. It is only a very small risk. For the information I've read online, the opinions are quite different, which, you know, as you can imagine, they are going to be. But from the stuff I've read online, it's like a 0.14% risk, whereas pregnancies that aren't exposed to ondansetron, the risk is like 0.11%. So it is a very, very small risk, but it's a risk nonetheless. So the doctor's advice was to kind of just see how long I can go, basically, without taking the medication, and then try and take it for, that was the cat, try and take it for as little amount of time as possible. So that's what I'm trying to do, which is why I feel so terrible. I haven't actually been sick yet, but there has been very, very close calls. I find if I don't eat every half hour, every hour, I feel horrific. And I can go from being like not even hungry at all to being absolutely ravenous in an instant, and it's really hard to keep on top of, especially whilst I'm trying to work full time as well and look after my son. So it's very tricky. So I wanted to just come on and update kind of where I'm at the moment. As I said, I'm 6 weeks, according to the first day of my last period, I'm 6 weeks and 4 days. I don't think I'm that far along yet, because I tend to ovulate a lot later in my cycle, so I have a feeling I'm just approaching 6 weeks now. But I do have a private scan. It was meant to be today, but I worked out my dates kind of based on when I think I ovulated, and I've moved it because you can only have an early scan from, well, in most clinics you can only have them from 6 weeks. So I've moved it to Wednesday, so that's Wednesday night I'm going to go for that scan, and hopefully I'll kind of get an estimation of how far along I am. It would be lovely to go in there and then be like, oh yes, you're 7 weeks, but I don't think that's going to be the case. You know, like a lot of women who suffer in the first trimester, I kind of just want it to be over, and I know that sounds awful, and I'm trying to appreciate and be so grateful for being pregnant, but it's really, really hard. It's so hard, and you can't explain it to anybody who hasn't been through it. You know, it's just the constant feeling like you're going to be sick, and it's not like when you've got an upset stomach and you're sick and then you feel better. You don't feel better. You just feel sick, and then if you are sick, you feel sick again straight after. It's really hard. I find that distraction really, really helps, so I'm trying to kind of stay busy but also rest as much as I possibly can. Like now, my husband has got my son out at his swimming lesson, which I would normally go to, but the thought of having to go into a changing room and smell the chlorine, nah, I couldn't do that this morning. So he is there and I am just lying in bed. I've just been watching a couple of bits on YouTube on my phone, and doing a bit more research. I've tried to find like some forums on people who've had like a similar experience with ondansetron, and I haven't come across any yet. I have joined a forum and asked the question if anyone has like experienced or been told about the risks and things associated with ondansetron and a cleft palate. So hopefully someone will come back to me and we can kind of have a little discussion, because you know, there's so much conflicting research out there. Like a lot of people are saying like, oh, there's no risk at all, you know, it's very minimal, and then other people are saying, oh yes, it's a significant risk. And I suppose me, the one that's going through it, has to make that decision. I have to make the decision. Do I run the risk and start taking the medication, or do I continue to feel like this and possibly get worse and risk another hospital admission like my first pregnancy? So I don't know at the moment what to do. My nausea tends to get really bad on a night, like after I eat my evening meal, so I'm trying to reduce my portions and just have like a really small amount of food regularly rather than like big meals. So we'll see how that goes. It didn't work last night. I had a smaller portion of what we were having for tea and I still felt really, really poorly. But I might reduce that further tonight and just kind of have something different than what everybody else is eating, and just have something plain. I have been living on white bread and crisps and oranges for the past 2 weeks. I can't stomach anything else. So I'm having things like toast. I've had like those little mini Scotch pancakes. I've been having some crumpets. PB&J sandwiches tend to do the trick because it's like a little bit of flavour, but it's nothing too overpowering. I've been drinking Pepsi Max, which I know is not the greatest, but something fizzy in my stomach tends to settle it a lot easier than just drinking water. I am trying to drink water as well, but I find that like just having small sips of something fizzy really helps settle my stomach like that, like in between meals, in between like eating. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it doesn't get much worse. I'm just praying that this is kind of the level that it's going to stay at. I don't mind if it stays at this level for weeks and weeks on end. I just don't want it to get any worse, because I still have to go to work, and my boss knows now, but no one else does. And it's getting harder and harder to hide, because I'm there like snacking on my dry Cheerios whilst trying to work, and I can imagine how strange that looks, especially like being a mum myself, being pregnant myself and experiencing it. I would be like, why is she eating dry cereal? So yeah, I'm sure that it's pretty obvious to the people in there who have been pregnant themselves, but no one's said anything yet. So I'm still wearing my anti-sickness bands. I find that like when I have like a really, really intense wave of nausea, I like massage them for like 60 seconds on each side, because I've got one on each wrist. I massage them for like 60 seconds on each side, and that can take away a lot of the like, oh my god, I'm going to be sick. So that's been really helpful. I have started taking vitamin B6 as well, because I've heard that that is meant to be really good. But I haven't really, well, I still feel terrible, so I don't know if that's working or not, but I'm kind of frightened to stop taking it in case it gets worse, so I am continuing to take that. I just take 25 milligrams, like one with every meal. I don't know if you're meant to take them with every meal or not, but it's my way of remembering to take them. I'm going numb. I've seen, in a few YouTube videos that I researched, like back when I first found out I was pregnant a couple of weeks, pardon me, I'm so sorry. A couple of weeks ago when I found out I was pregnant, I did some research and stuff for YouTube, like on YouTube, and a lot of people, it was all like American YouTubers, said that vitamin B6 taken with a Unisom sleep tab, like half of a Unisom sleep tab 3 times a day, tend to stop their nausea, but we can't get that in the UK. I have found a website that you can order like medication from America, and they send it like over here. They buy it in bulk and like sell it at like a discounted price. It's still pretty expensive. It's about £30 for this bottle of sleeping tablets, but I don't know, I mean, it's up to each individual person, isn't it? You've got to do your own research on these sorts of things, but I don't know whether it's worth the £30 to spend and then wait a week or two for it to be delivered, and then by that point I might be starting to feel better, or I could be on the ondansetron by then if I've made the decision to start taking it. I don't know, but anyway, I've waffled for like 13 minutes now, so yeah, that's my update for around week 6, so hopefully things start to improve. I'll jump back on soon. Hello, another first trimester update. I feel like I'm starting every one of these clips A, looking like a mess, and B, being really out of breath, but I've just run up the stairs. I wanted to pop back on. Today I am 7 weeks and 3 days. I am very sick, if you can't tell by the lack of makeup and horrific look on my face. I've been thrown up since the day I turned 7 weeks. So basically, I can't keep anything down. I am struggling to drink water. I'm trying to take sips. I did speak to the doctor when they prescribed me the ondansetron for the sickness. So they prescribed me the ondansetron, but I haven't actually taken it until today. But she suggested like sipping on Lucozade Sport if I was really struggling to keep fluids down, which I have been, so I'm sipping on that. I'm also drinking some ice water, and I'm going to attempt some jam on toast because I'm so hungry. That's what I've really been struggling with. Like, I just want to eat. I just want to be able to eat something. I can't cook any meals. My husband Johnny has been having to do that, but I can't eat what he's cooking because the smell of it just puts me off, and then I just feel horrific. So yeah, I have taken ondansetron today. I took it about an hour ago, and I'm starting to get hungry, which is good because I haven't actually like felt hunger pains for a few days. I just know that I've needed to eat, but I do actually feel quite hungry, so I'm going to attempt some food. Before I start eating my toast, I wanted to show you our scan pictures. We went for our I went for the early pregnancy scan on Wednesday night. So we went to a place called Before We Meet, which is located in Sunderland, just local to us. So I want to show you our 7-week little bean. It's tiny, it's so small. I don't know if you can see. There's a little baby. So this, I think this is the baby, and then this is like the yolk, or it might be the other way around, I'm not sure, but she did explain to me, but I wasn't really listening. I was just so pleased to see something there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that at the top is the baby. I got a few pictures, I did get 3, but they're all very much the same kind of picture. But yeah, that's the best one. So that's our little bean. It was very nice going to see the baby when I feel so poorly. Like, it kind of gives me a bit of like, this is what I'm doing it for. So yeah, I just wanted to pop back on and say that things have gotten worse, and I'm hoping that they don't get much worse. What I'm most anxious about is being poorly at work, because I tend to start feeling really poorly like late afternoon, so around about 2-3 o'clock I start to get really poorly. And when you're working, you know, 9 till 5, I am in work for that period of time, so it's pretty scary. That's why I asked if I could work from home today, because I just felt horrific. And I'm pleased I did, because I've been sick a lot through the day, so it was a good job that I did. But yeah, that's my update for today. So 7 weeks and 3 days, and feeling absolutely crap. But I'm hoping that things will start to get better. We are planning on telling family next week, which will be Christmas. So I'll be 8 weeks and 4 days 8 weeks and 5 days when we tell them. And it'll be nice to not have to hide it from like the people that we see the most. Obviously we're not going to announce it like publicly or anything until we're into the 2nd trimester, just, you know, it's a safer period to announce it. Chances of miscarriage and everything reduce. So yeah, that's my update for now. So I wanted to pick up the camera and kind of just finish off this video. It's been a very long time since I've done an update. I think the last update I did, I was about 7 weeks. I'm now 15, so it's been a very long time. But as predicted, I was very poorly, and I had hyperemesis again throughout this pregnancy. I ended up in hospital. So yeah, it's been a whole journey. So I just wanted to kind of come on and finish off kind of this section, so I can kind of start filming some other more positive things. I'll just go back and talk like through like weeks 8 to where I am now, and that'll kind of be like the 1st trimester section. So like week 7, week 8 and week 9 were all, no, it's downstairs. So week 7, 8 and 9 were all relatively the same. It was just lots and lots of sickness. I didn't, in the last clip I think I'd said I'd started taking the ondansetron, but I stopped taking that because it didn't work, and obviously there's risks associated with taking ondansetron in early pregnancy. So I kind of just made the decision that I wanted to stop taking that. I wasn't getting any benefits from anyway, so I decided to stop taking that. I'm sorry, I'm still so out of breath, but I'm getting a bump now, so that's probably why. Week 10 I tried cyclazine, and I tried that for a week just on its own, and it didn't work. I was still being very sick. I was very dehydrated at this point. I've only just come to learn this, but I'd lost 2 stone, which is actually the same amount as I lost in pregnancy with Noah. So I'd lost a lot of weight and I was very ill. I was very, very poorly. I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't walk because I just had no strength in my muscles. It was horrible, it was really, really horrible. I'd say that the hyperemesis was worse this time around than it was with Noah. I just kind of dealt with it a little bit better because I was expecting it, whereas obviously when it's your first pregnancy you have no idea, and I wasn't expecting it and I had never been through it before. So yeah, so week 10 we tried the cyclizine, that didn't work. Week 11 I ended up in hospital on IV fluids. They were kind of toying with the idea of keeping me in because I was still very dehydrated after the end of like 10 hours on fluids, but they didn't. They let me come home because they basically could just tell how miserable I was and how poorly I felt, and they wanted me to kind of just be in my own home, in my own bed, but they basically said, if you're still feeling like this tomorrow then come back. But whilst I was at hospital they also prescribed me another type of medication called metoclopramide or metoclopramide to take alongside the cyclizine. So we started that. So that was like two types of medication, so one every 4 hours, like alternate ones every 4 hours, even throughout the night, and that is kind of where it started to get better. So that was about 11 weeks and 4-5 days, and by the time I turned 12 weeks, 12 weeks exactly was the last day that I was sick. And I remember it because I was sick right before we were due to leave to go for the 12-week scan, and I was 12 weeks exactly on that day. So yeah, that was the last time I was sick. So that's been 3 weeks and I still feel sick. I still have to eat very regular meals, but I can eat now, I can keep water down. So it has improved. I've gained back a little bit of weight, which is good. So yeah, things are getting better. I feel a million times better. I mean, I might not look it, but I'm still working from home. I'm not going anywhere. I don't have to put makeup on and stuff. So I am feeling better. However, I'm still taking this medication. With my first pregnancy with Noah, I was poorly until about 17 weeks, and that was with medication. So I'm kind of at that point now where I'm hoping to start feeling better within the next few weeks and I can wean myself off of the medication, but I don't know. So at the moment I am still taking the 2 kinds of anti-sickness right the way through the day and night. So I'm having to set alarms on my phone to wake up in the night and take medication, which is not fun, waking up at 2 AM when you're absolutely exhausted. So, but you know, it is what it is. As you can see, like, I've started buying a few bits, which has been lovely. It's been like a nice way to kind of get excited, because it was very hard in the beginning to kind of think past like the first few weeks, because obviously I was just so poorly, I just couldn't think past the next hour, let alone thinking about buying things for the baby and finding out the gender and this, that and the other. We are at 15 weeks and 3 days. 15 weeks and 3 days. I'll maybe show you my bump. I've got quite a big bump, but I remember being big with Noah at 15 weeks because I remember going to view a house and the woman commented and she was like, oh, you're only 15 weeks. So I must have had like a bigger bump than most. I don't know, but I'll show you. This is week 15. I wanted to come on and just kind of wrap up this video. I didn't film as much as I wanted to film because I just got so poorly. I just didn't have the energy. I knew it was coming. I just kind of hoped that I would still be able to film and even film like the bad bits. The few bits that I did film kind of just show a very tiny insight into what it's been like, but I just wanted to document it really. So yeah, there are lots more videos to come. We find out the gender a week. Oh my god, we find out the gender a week tomorrow. We're having an early scan. So thank you so much for watching. I will leave my Instagram in the description box below if you want to come over and follow me on there. I am trying to update a bit more regularly over on Instagram. I'm awful, but I'm still working a full-time job at the moment alongside being pregnant, as are most people, but it's hard to keep on top of like social media as well. So yeah, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe because there's lots more baby content to come, and I will see you in the next one.